And you're on.
All right. Well, Dave, welcome to the show. We were talking right before we got on here about when I met you, and I think we're in the 90s at least.
Yeah, well, yeah, definitely in the 90s.
So,
Way back.
Welcome to the show. We don't necessarily have a whole agenda, but you and me have just been kind of talking local, local sports, local events, local things. And you have been around, with all due respect, and done so many things. What are you doing now?
Well, now we was recently reorganized, so I'm no longer in charge of the recreation side of it.
So quit bothering them about rec stuff, okay? That's what this is all about, actually. Is don't bother
Leave
them about
alone.
rec stuff anymore.
I still love it, and I hope they do awesome stuff, and they are still doing awesome stuff. But I'm the parks maintenance guy, parks maintenance superintendent, and I've got a stronger focus now on capital improvement projects in the parks, and we've got a lot of those.
And I mean, I'll tell you, our parks are booming.
Yeah.
I mean, collectively booming. I mean, obviously they're busy, which obviously locals, we feel 50-50 on that. We're like, oh, that's really great, except for I wanted to use it this weekend. So, I mean, improvement everywhere. So you guys are putting up some nice landscaping and walls down at Community Park.
Yep.
Back in my day, what was once a Little League field is no longer.
Right. My day, too.
I mean, the whole thing has just changed. Obviously, all those Little League fields, we got 4 baseball fields up there.
3 fields for Little League at Rotary Park now, and on the schedule in the horizon in the plan, we've got 4 more coming at Community Park that'll be across the street on the east side of the highway.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. And down in Rotary, I mean, that's turning into like the hot spot, right? Like that's the hub of things. You guys just added an RC track.
Yep.
You know, we always had that RC plane track or landing strip. What do you call it?
I'd go with either.
Okay. And I remember being down there for Firebird back in the day, and you'd look up and there's like a World War II fighter, peeling off as you're pulling into the parking lot. And you're like, what the hell,
It's a cool thing to see, and I don't know how many other places have something like that, but we're pretty honored and proud to have it.
It's a real neat vibe down there because you got the river, which is such a natural, beautiful backdrop, the walking trail. You know, we had Firebird Field. We got that badass field. And, previous to that, it was a hot mess. So that whole area is just turned into a whole different animal. So it's been pretty cool. You got anything else on the horizon that maybe people aren't that familiar with?
We sure do. I mean, there's a lot coming up right now. Rotary Park, it's constantly being developed. There's one really cool thing coming up to Rotary Park. You're having me on like a month early because I'd really like to.
Hey, schedule Dave in 30 days.
We can do that. We can do that. Yep.
We need an update in 30 days.
No problem.
But I mean, we're constantly doing things there, whether it's expanding the trail or doing improvements to the ball fields, which we're trying to do that. The big ball field for Little League, the one that's for 14U and up, we're running out sprinkler lines. We have a better way to water the infields and manicure the infields for anybody that's out there for that. We're looking at the possibility of putting in a batting cage over there. And the RC track. We've got a lot of plans for the RC track. We are lucky that we have a good group of volunteers and people that are enthusiasts of the RC
having
track.
passionate people who are driving it and giving input is a lot of help. We've seen it with the BMX track. When that passionate group kind of moved out, it kind of faded off, and then it comes back, which I think is back now. Great job, BMX. But I'm sure it's the same way in all those projects.
It is, and the people at the RC track, they're willing to get out there and do some work. Like they've told me they've got a guy that knows how to run a Bobcat, so he wants to get out there and reshape and put in some of this.
Everyone says they know how to run a Bobcat, right? You just give a man some keys and a Bobcat, and they're like, "Oh yeah, I can run this Bobcat." Next thing you know, you got a wall knocked over. He's in the river. You know what I mean?
Right.
So,
hold my beer. Right?
we had hold my beer. I got this. We had Bo from the chamber on, and he said that he was very interested in some biking projects you guys had coming up.
I was just getting ready to come to that.
Oh, okay.
It's going to be very cool. So it's a pump track.
He's like super biker.
Yes,
I don't know if you've seen his videos.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, oh, that's cool, man. That's cool. And then he showed the video. I was like, oh man.
Yeah, like he was
Is that really you?
Yeah, like that's not cool. Like that's next level. Like I used to, watch that on the YouTube. You know what I mean?
He had a college scholarship for mountain biking, and he was nationally ranked. He was quite the thing, and still is. He's still way into it, and he's been a good help with us, kind of planning this pump track at Rotary Park. And the thing about the pump track is it's going to be something that's good for young kids. It's going to be good for skilled kids. It's going to have obstacles that someone like Bo is going to find interesting.
You can go out there and
for little guys.
hit the big jumps and show the kids how it's done. Next thing you know, some kid's gonna be behind them.
Yeah.
So when you say
Careful,
pump,
kids.
when you say pump track, is that basically you don't have to pedal, or
Well, yeah, there's going to be a section of the pump track where you won't even have to pedal because it'll have your
a decline in the?
Don't worry, Dave. I don't
momentum.
pedal anyway. That's not happening. So
Maybe we can
all
get
tracks
Shane.
are pump track. They're visual tracks for me. I just watch.
We'll
you
try to
know.
get you out there, Shane.
No, you could try, and I'll go, but I'm not riding anything. So, there was a time where I was a little more of an athletic guy, and we were talking a little bit, and people don't realize that at one point I was like a 180-pound high school basketball player, football player, and I'm a biscuit under 300 pounds, and I don't do much of that anymore. So now you lost some weight. You look great. That's fantastic. What
you.
brought that on?
I've fallen in love.
Yeah.
I'm engaged to be married.
I thought you were supposed to get. I thought you were supposed to fall in love and get
Supposed
lazy.
to be the opposite way, yeah.
And balloon
You
up.
got
Is that-
motivated.
I did it backwards. You telling me?
I
That's
don't
funny.
know.
When I was
I'm
married,
not
I was in
saying
great
that.
shape too. I got divorced and said, "The hell with it," So I went completely backwards. So
Well,
how much weight have you lost?
80 pounds.
That's
so
amazing, man.
I'm just counting calories and started working out every day. So.
Who would have thought, huh?
Yeah,
What a
imagine
concept.
that.
Makes a difference.
So we had talked about the parks a little bit, and you had mentioned Rotary, and you said water. Does the current water situation affect us and our parks much, or are we because are we pulling river water? How does that work?
Right now, knock on wood, it's not hurting us the way it is other places, and I think that's a lot due to how the city manager, public works director, and the city council have all really been focused, and our water director now. They've all been focused on managing our water in a smart way for years, way before this crisis was even upon us. So they've set us up in a position where we're able to make do with what we have right now and make the most of it and be very successful, both from everything from irrigating, our parks to, how we're using the resources that are coming from the dam every single
Where
day.
do we get our water? Is that straight out of the river? Does that come out of a regular water system, or?
A little of both. We've got.
I remember back in the day it was don't run through the sprinklers because that's bad water.
That's right. It was it was all reclaimed.
Don't drink
water
it.
for a long
Yeah.
time. But for about the
You
last
see kids out there running the sprinklers, you're like, oh,
close your mouth.
yeah.
Oh boy.
But for about the last 8 years, we've been using well water. We've also incorporated a little bit of city water that was previously Upcore. Now it's Bullhead City water. So, and we're going to be adding another line for that in Rotary Park here pretty soon. So, whatever it takes to make it work the best we can, that's what we've tried to do, and the best we can within being smart with taxpayer dollars.
Yeah, well, nobody wants our tax money wasted, right? So if you ever catch me on a, day that ends in Y, I'll complain about taxes. So, Jeff, do we have our community spotlight with Dave?
I can bring it up. Yeah.
Yeah, if you could just dig it up whenever. We went out and did a community spotlight with you guys, and we think parks, we think grass and slides, right?
Yep.
But you took us on a tour of some of our more unique community spotlights, and honestly, it got a very powerful emotional response from people. We had people, wow, that was great. I didn't know that was there. Oh my gosh, I haven't seen it in years. What's it like having, both the grass for kids to play on and then things like that where it's got a much deeper connection for people?
It's just rewarding. I mean, it's one of those reasons why I just love what I do, because I've lived here my whole life, and outside of when I went over here for college, and I came back here because I chose to, because I love this community. So to be able to give back to the families and support the veterans as they're doing things in the park, it's just rewarding. You love being a part of that, and the community spotlight that we did, focusing on veterans parks, was a lot
Christy
of fun.
loves those. She does such a good job.
She does, and it's fun working with her. She's definitely a natural when it comes to being in front of the camera, that's for sure. And
Yes.
now, even since we did that one, we've got just earlier this week, we had a new announcement at the city council meeting that we're going to be getting a howitzer at North Community Park. And,
I saw that.
and to be clear, it's going to look like a tank, but it's a howitzer. It's huge.
That's
It's
really
gonna be
cool. I saw
awesome.
that.
It's going to be very cool.
I already pitched our GM. I was like, why don't we have a tank? What are we doing here? You tell me we put a tank out here, people aren't going to stop in, you know. So, did you find it, Jeff?
I'm still looking. I
I just heard a peek of Christy.
I heard
So
that voice, yeah.
I'm getting there.
we do radio ads together, me and Christy, and no one ever says anything about my voice. And then they're like, man, that lady does radio ads. I just hear it. I just know it's her.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah. And I'm thinking, thank God they don't know it was me.
I told her when we were doing that community spotlight, I said that from the second you say hi, people know it's you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, she's got
She
that
has
voice.
obviously there's not a lot of people fighting for the trademark, but she's definitely trademarked that. Hi, I'm Christy from Findlay. You know,
Yep.
I can't even fake the voice.
Yeah, but you do a great job on the radio too.
Well, thank you, Dave. I believe that's my first radio. I don't think only thing I ever get from people is the old joke you never hear enough of is that you have a face for radio joke, and I'm like, yeah, got it, thanks. You know, 50th time you nailed it. You know, so
And you do great on these shows too. I mean, there's a lot of good stuff in the community.
you know, a little bit like how you said, you know, your career is somewhat driven by, you know, your success or where you land, but it's also by where your passion is. And this is an outlet for me to give back, to reach people, to talk to people. And, I mean, you know, I've been around for a while,
Yes,
and most of my passion has always been in youth and sports. And, you know, this has become something that I really enjoy. I get to talk to you, and I get to talk to you about parks, and I get to talk to you about, you know, promise you, we're gonna slip in some local football here.
All right.
You know,
We
it's
knew that was
listen,
coming.
we're like 2-3 weeks out from season, and it's gonna be about all I talk about for the next 6 months. You ever seen that? Shoot, who's in that? Is it hosts the talk show, but he's a Boston Red Sox fan, and he dates Drew Barrymore. Have you seen that movie?
Yes, I know who you're talking about. And the name's
It's
not
Jimmy.
coming to
Is
mind.
it Jimmy Fallon?
It is, isn't
Jimmy
it?
Fallon?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. And I always just think that's me in life. Like I'm like pretty normal, boating, traveling. If football season comes around, it's nope, nothing to do. I got no time. I got and so we're in the middle of our spring camp. So we go and lift weights to high school at 4. From 4, we go to the field house, and we got almost 60 kids every day. And half those kids I've coached for multiple years, and it just becomes like so much more than just coaching football. You know kids' names, stories, where they started. I was telling you about one of those kids who's made a big improvement, you see all that, and it's really hard to just do it part time.
No, and the thing is that it's already been proven to be successful once down there a few years ago with the Vipers, and then moved up into River Valley, and they did it.
Yeah.
And you guys have that same thing going on at Mojave now. These kids that were Firebirds, they're
Yeah.
moving up. They've got that relationship with these coaches, that trust with these coaches, which I think is the most important thing. And now you're really starting to.
So
get the
we
best
just
out.
brought up, now our group, when you were doing parks, you would, get us on the field, get the lights, all that other stuff, all of our psychotic booking of random games at 3 hours notice or something, you know what I mean? But this is kind of the tail end of that. All those kids, outside of a couple of will be 8th graders, are now up at Mojave. And we're really excited to have them all together. And, we are very excited to see what that could be. We were very successful at the youth world. We've retained almost all of them. That's one of the big scary things is, and I'm sure you've seen it, is kids kind of get lost in middle school. They're, for whatever reason, kids are in the lower levels and everybody loves them. They're cute little kids. And then they get in middle school and they're like, these kids are a pain. And they just kind of, get lost in the shuffle. And then they get back to high school and you hope they're in a good place or wherever. I've said that, and I don't know if it's the age group or because they're only there for 2 years or what it is, but middle school is like the black hole of youth sports. It just disappears. And we kept most of those kids together, so we're really excited. So
That's good. I mean, I think a lot of it has to do with the emergence of travel ball. And if you don't have strong travel ball stuff going in your community, you lose it. Because like when you and I were in middle school, that's what you did in middle school. You did all my sports in middle school, and it
dominated
was fun
Bullhead
and
City
great.
Junior High back in whatever year that was. So.
Yes, you did.
So it's funny. I tell so many of these when I was your age stories to these kids. We had a bunch of guys doing. They just went to state for juniors in Mojave Valley, and I was like, "Yeah, we won state when I was." And I was like, "Oh God, I'm that guy now." And so then I talked to somebody about junior high. I said, "We won that junior high basketball tournament." I'm that guy now,
Yeah.
So I just gotta sit back and mind my business, and let the young kids do their thing. And
I think it was that Pittsburgh connection because between you guys and the Dittlers and winning state, I mean that's.
so I always tell the story. We had this like really perfect storm come together. The Dittlers moved here right before us, I think, and we moved here. Alan Rivera moved here from Tucson. I think they were originally from somewhere else, and it was like we just had this influx of bodies, and then we had a bunch of existing local talent who was here already, and it just worked and carried over for years. You
Sure
know.
did.
Yeah. So.
That was fun.
Well, Jake went and got drafted for the Indians. You know, showed us all up. We were supposed to live on our middle school glories, but. Did you find that video, Jeff?
Yes, I did. You ready?
Yeah, sorry,
Okay.
I get a little long-winded.
That's okay.
Don't get me
I've been
going.
waiting for you.
Thanks.
Here we go. Yeah, this is the beginning here.
Start here with Dave. Where are we starting at, Dave?
Well, Christy, we're here at the Arizona Veterans Memorial. It's right.
And you can talk
behind
over this
the,
if you'd like to.
American Legion Post 87.
Well, I knew,
down
like
at
I
the
said
corner
right
of
away, you knew it
Clearwater
was
and
Christy
Riviera
before we
Yeah.
even saw the picture.
Yeah, that's true.
The Veterans Memorial on the south side.
This was the very first one that we looked at. It was right there behind you, your building there.
Right behind the American Legion office.
Yeah, right behind the building. Yeah.
So I don't typically take my boat upriver. I usually launch out in the valley and go south. And for whatever reason, one day we went up past Rotary Park. I think the water's really high or something. And some of those memorials from this river are beautiful. I think you get out to that one here in a minute here, but like you just don't expect it. You forget it, you know.
Well, and that's the thing. Veterans United is just a group of guys from the American Legion and from the VFW who decided they wanted to do some, prominent things to recognize veterans in Bullhead City, and they've just put their hearts and soul into it, and it's carried on for a couple of different generations of leadership, and they just keep making more and more improvements, and they get a lot of support from the community. They sell those bricks, and that's how the community's giving them back and some cash, and they're putting it right into these memorials.
Yeah, and they look great. Do you have an idea? I mean, I'm sure you guys try to track the day as best you can. Do you have any idea how many people visit these memorials throughout the year?
Throughout the year, I estimated last year about 10,000 that came through here.
That's a lot.
And that's the people that I'm estimating they're coming from out of town. Locals, who knows? We got a lot of locals that are there every day. If I add those up with, because you've got your regular dog walkers, you've got the regulars that come every night to these parks, and they're very busy. I'd say we get a good 200 a day of locals just showing up.
And I got to make it clear that this is
So I saw all those flags there, Dave. I got to ask you, how long do your flags last out here?
Not long. Not long at all.
Okay.
I mean, we got those replaced, and they had only been out there for about a month. But we were like, okay, we got to do it. 4th of July is coming up. We got to
We
replace
had the
these
same
right
thing,
now.
and I feel so bad because the minute one of those flags looks bad, we get messages.
Oh yeah.
We get messages, and before you kind of call a guy up and flags here 2-3 days later. It's taken us like 10 days to get flags, so we have I think 20 some odd flags between the two locations. And but 60 days later they look wore out.
Yep.
Yeah.
30 days, and if it's in the winter with the wind whipping, I mean they look like they're just done after a month.
And this winter was brutal. Gosh, I can't remember as bad a winter, and I've been here a long time with the wind as bad as it was.
And it
was
seemed to
rough.
last longer. Like
Yeah.
it was. We always had a couple days like that, but it seemed like it just dragged on forever. But we've kicked that dead horse of being here forever, a couple times. But I'd like to kind of ask you, as you sit back, and obviously we all get a little older. We've been around. We remember the old days. We see the new. What's your take on, the town growing the way it has? I mean, is it exciting? Is it kind of, I miss the old days. I find myself having a little bit of both. Like, I really want some Olive Garden breadsticks, but I also kind of miss being able to off-road in Rio Lomas. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I hear that.
So what's your take on seeing it grow the way it has over the years?
I mean, I like it because I just interact with so many different people on a regular basis. I mean, I get to see my locals all the time, and I love them, and I love hearing their ideas that they have, and why don't you guys try this in the park and stuff like that. But I also like seeing Grace Heck did an interview with some folks from California that were at the beach last weekend, and I thought that was really cool. He was just talking about how I've been coming here for 30 years, and I just love it. You get that
So
story all
the
the
funniest thing, I go out with my little boating circle of friends. I got in a Facebook group when I bought this boat I have, and they're all from California, and so they catch me venting on my social media every once in a while. These, too many Californians here. I can't drive on 95, and 2 minutes later I get a message. What are you saying, man? And the funny part is about half of them did buy houses out here over the last 2 years.
Yeah.
And so they were same thing. They kind of have visited for, 10 or 15 years since they were kids. Now they're adults, and now they bought second homes out here and whatnot. And so it's really cool to see, people kind of transition live in action. But I got to be careful not to make my Shockwave buddies mad. So sorry, guys. If you catch me venting, traffic gets the worst of us. But,
But
what,
we do
what
love
can
their
you do?
financial investments in our community.
Yeah, during COVID when we had all those folks coming in from out of town for these football tournaments, and they came and played at Firebird Field, the Field House, things like that. And, me from a football standpoint, it was oh, great, we get all this football in town, we get all this exposure, we play all these other teams, we see all this, different stuff. And then financially, it had to have been, a little bit of a lifesaver. I know it was probably tough for everybody, but there wasn't a lot going on for a while there.
No, there wasn't. And I remember right towards the end of the worst of the COVID, we were, my fiance and I were at Golden Nugget, and we were talking at the front desk there, and the just random front desk worker said, "You guys kept us open during COVID." They said with the tournaments that were happening, people were coming, and they didn't have people coming to play. They had people come to stay. So I was happy to be a part of that.
Yeah, no, it's great. We it's actually what started our community spotlights. Was we didn't really know what to do because we couldn't really market cars. We didn't really have any cars for a minute there, and we couldn't really go out and interact. All the community events got canceled, and so we kind of sat around. We're like, what are we going to do? And at the time, Rob had the idea of reaching out to one of these local businesses. That was he was in there doing something, and they were having a hard time, and that just sparked the whole idea of what can we do for people, and that just evolved into this whole other thing, and here we are. So
great idea. I think it's a great show. I mean, people love it.
We really enjoy it, and it's so fun to get out and interact with people. And like I said, we did that community spotlight with you up there, and man, we had people messaging in that were just grateful that someone showed it to them. And I'm sure people have shown it in other ways, but reaching people's tough these days.
It is,
especially with Facebook always messing with the algorithm.
Yeah, that's true.
You guys just put our stuff out there, and some days no one sees it, and you're like, "Well, come on, no one saw this," So it's very, 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 very frustrating.
Yeah.
So I got to ask you, how's Joe?
Joe's doing pretty well.
Where's he at now?
He's at Westminster in Utah, in Salt Lake City, D2 basketball.
So you probably reffed, definitely coached at some level when I was young. I have a picture of Benjamin either talking to Tommy or Joe at a Boys and Girls Club game. He's a little kid and he's standing there looking like this. And now Joe is obviously off doing his thing. Tommy's doing his thing. And now Benjamin's that age where he's, we had a camp the other day and he's talking to little kids and this and that. And it's just the weirdest thing is dad seeing your kid grow up right in front of your eyes. I bought him a freaking car the other day. Like, what the heck,
Yeah, it happens to the best of us, right?
Yeah,
but
it's
I'm here
pretty
talking to a kid who has a kid. And, it's weird.
I'm gonna be 40 this year, and they always say, "Oh, age is just a number." And there's just something you're like, "There's a 4," There's a 4 there.
I got my 5 this year.
Oh, it's so bizarre, man, so bizarre. So I want to talk a little bit of Mojave sports with you. I know you're very passionate about the local sports in the area in general, but you yourself have kind of a legacy. I would say your class, your family, you guys have been in some of the better sports groups to come through Mojave.
Well, yeah, I mean, back in the glory days when we were winning 12
I was in the glory
titles for baseball in a row and went to state twice for basketball. I mean, those were fun.
Yeah.
But I've just loved being a fan ever since. Mm-hmm. And there have been good times and bad, maybe more bad than good. But right now, I'm so excited for Mojave football, I can't hardly contain myself.
So am I. It's poor Jeff has to hear me talk about it everywhere we go and everything I do. And I tried to explain to someone the other day that it's like the best and worst part is I can't go anywhere without someone asking me about football, which is great, but I got to get things done sometimes. Like I got to hustle through here, and I got a 30-minute conversation everywhere I stop. But deep down inside, I'm so happy about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
perfect example is the Margarita Fest.
Yes.
You went in there to just kind of mingle a little bit, and you ended up staying the whole dang event.
So I went. I don't drink, but I do like to support Boys and Girls Club. I like to represent my company. So it's important for me to get out and do some of these things. And I told Jeff, everyone, we had about 2 tables, and I said, look, I'm going to make the rounds. I'm going to sit with you guys for a little bit, and I'm going to sneak out the back, Things closing down. I'm still standing in there talking about sponsorships, and that kid's doing great, and this, that, and the other thing. And it's such a, like I said, I feel bad sometimes because it just burns up a lot of time, but it's such a good feeling, and I'm sure that you have experienced that when I see every time and ask you about the kid, how he's doing.
Yeah, that's fun. I love that, and you're coming into that. Your son's looking really good, and we were talking about it a little earlier before we went on, and just the idea to me that Mojave's going to have a good team. because they're strong in all facets of the game is
Mm-hmm.
exciting. I've seen good pass, well, not much, but I've seen a little good passing in the past. I've seen good running backs in the past. I've seen good defense in the past. I haven't seen them all happen at the same time. I haven't seen good lines when we've had these other things either.
I don't mean to ruffle any feathers. We started helping at Mojave. This is the start of our 3rd year. And so we had come up from the youth, and we kind of got there. And you know us, we can't stay out of things. So we were like, yeah, we'll help with the lower. Next thing you know, we're middle of varsity practice, running drills, doing whatever. And I remember sitting there the first week going, like, how are we going to build a team out of what we have here? You know, like we're so deficient in some areas. And now, and you're welcome to come down and check out the team. You know, we're in the field house for 2 more days for our camp. But now I sit there and go, man, we have enough depth here. I can actually move this guy to a more advantageous position where he can play the right position. This guy can step in and do the job at 90%, and we're better as a team.
Yeah.
And that's really fun. We were talking a little bit. My son's about my size. He's 15 years old, 260 pounds, moves pretty well. And he's got 3 buddies that are just as big as he is, and they can all play the game. And that's something you don't see at the high school level very often, let alone in this town. And, you know, we talked about our running backs. You know, John Williams, great athlete. We got 2 guys right behind him who are very talented. And, I mean, how fun is that to know you can send John out of the backfield for a pass, or you can put him at wide receiver, or I can put him back at quarterback, or, I mean, sky's the limit. So it's so fun to play the game that way.
And I'm so excited about that, too, because he's great. Everybody you're going to play against knows he's great.
Mm-hmm.
And to be able to say, well, we've got this, too.
Yeah.
People aren't going to be
I
ready
got a couple
for that.
senior wide receivers that I don't post a lot of pictures of because I want to
Top
fly
secret.
them under the radar a little bit, you know. And so it's very fun. And a lot of people ask me, you know, man, how do you get such a group? What do you do? What do you do? And you should see their face when I say, well, about 10 years ago we started, you know, and they go, oh, okay. No, I just want the magic. I want the magic pill. So,
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, and I drive through McDonald's all the time, and I think I see one of your seniors there at the window, and he is an amazing wide receiver. I saw some stuff last season that I wasn't, he's not going to reel this in. Boom.
oh, yeah,
You
I know.
Jonathan, I mean, he's not quarterback, but he can get the ball down the field with his arm, and you get under it, you can reel it in.
So back in my day, I could huck a football. And before I got super old, I would throw. And I think at like 14 years old, John could throw a football further than I could. And it was a very humbling thing to go, okay, I'm a grown man, and this kid just threw a football further than me. And I'll tell you, so I used to work out with him because he was a little too strong for everybody else. I can't work out with him anymore.
Yeah.
He's gotten that, you know, I think he did, his last set was like 7 or 8 at 360 pounds of squats. And I can squat 360 pounds once or twice. But, yeah, you can do 7 or 8. Like, no, John, you're on your own, man. You got to find somebody else to work out with. So he's been working out with the linemen, and it's so crazy just to see these kids put in the work. They do everything we ask of them. The kid I assume you're talking about is Isaac Robles.
Yeah.
And
You didn't say a name, so I didn't want to drop
well,
him, but
he's no secret. You know, he was, I believe he got a first team recognition last year, maybe second. I apologize, Robles, if I don't remember. But he's been playing wide receiver for us since he was a little kid. And he's fast, he's explosive, he's got great hands. The crazy thing is he's actually probably as good on the defensive side as he is on the offensive side. And, you know, this is, for us as coaches, and especially like, you know, us who have coached him since he was a kid, this is our last run with him. You know, he's going to go on, and we're hoping he gets an opportunity to play at the next level. He does his job where he, his grades stay good, what they always have been, puts in the work, hits the right spots, and he gets a place to play and go to college.
Yeah.
So I think we got probably 10 kids over this, next 3 or 4 years that can probably play college football.
yeah, that's what it looks like. You look like you got that. I mean, that freshman, Urias? Man, last year he was so small. I was like, this kid's not going to do anything.
Oh.
But he's a freshman on varsity for a reason, and then he showed me. Holy cow.
He went to state for wrestling.
Did he really? Well, that
Yeah.
doesn't surprise
I don't know if
me.
he had
That
ever wrestled
size,
before.
he's
He may have in
athletic.
youth or something. And he goes out and wrestles, and I honestly thought he was going to play basketball, and I went, that makes sense. And then I watched him wrestle, and I was like, oh, yeah, no, this is what he's supposed to do.
Yeah.
And he went to
Maximize
state.
your size as a wrestler.
Yes,
Yeah.
where he is undersized in so many ways, but he's so athletic and talented. And then, he goes to where he's people his own size, and he's fantastic.
Yeah.
And you should see him. He's probably put on 15 pounds of muscle. He looks like a little bodybuilder.
I can't wait. I can't wait. Well, I mean, you're the one doing the interview, but let me segue into this. Did you guys find a scrimmage yet?
We did not find a scrimmage yet.
Don't be scared out there. Someone, come on.
Well,
Step up.
it's funny because, and this might just be me being a little dramatic or I take things a little personally, but when we first got here, everybody wanted to scrimmage Mojave. And usually it's because you want a scrimmage that's not real high risk. You don't have to worry about any, And now we have a hard time finding a scrimmage. And, part of that is a little bit of realignment where we do play some local teams in conference, so I understand that. But we'd like to get a scrimmage together. The only upside is we do have a lot of young guys, and we do have a JV game the week before our season starts.
Okay.
So we can get some of those young guys some work,
Yeah.
but it's really not the same as getting a scrimmage, getting the whole team together. But, yeah, if, somebody wants to come up, we got an air-conditioned facility. It's kind of nice. It's hot everywhere. If you want to come up, get a little scrimmage, we'd love to have it. I'll tell you, that Twitter world for sports is wild.
Yeah, it sure is. It sure is. So I got to be careful. I got to be diplomatic as much as I can. I don't want to hurt anybody.
So you're a lot like me. You're a very passionate sports fan. And in the community, I'm very self-conscious. I, think very big. Everybody, try to look out for the little guy, all those little things. And then we start talking sports, and you throw all that out the window. Dave's a Raiders fan, and I'm a Steelers fan. And the minute we start talking, not just Dave, but anybody start talking football, it's like, no. I'm not having that. I'm not doing this.
We can have our own show on that.
But we're both Pirates fans, so we can always find some common ground there. And it's pretty funny because my son, who's never really played baseball, loves this Pirates team right now.
Yeah, there's a lot of good young guys.
Good young guys. He likes the fat guy who hits bombs.
Yeah.
He's a big, it's so funny. You always talk about being an elite athlete, and then you see some of these pro baseball players, and they're, like John Kruckish,
Yeah.
It's pretty funny. So I really like that Neil Cruz kid.
Yeah, everybody does. I mean, a 6'7" shortstop, that the fastest guy on the team with the best arm on the team and the fastest bat speed on the team. Oh my gosh.
Pirates probably get 7-8 good trades for that.
Yeah, he'll look great in a Yankees uniform, right? Jeez.
It's the worst, man. And I follow all these local Pittsburgh fan pages and everything. Like they're like, Pirate bobblehead day today. Well, it's good because you're not trying to win. Like they're just the saltiest baseball fans ever.
Well,
so
we've earned it. And the reason why I'm a Pirates fan is because there was no baseball team in Arizona back in 1977, 78 when I was a kid. So I bandwagoned with them. It was great. Dave Parker and Bill Madlock, all those guys, Willie Stargell. I loved it. It was great. It's been a little painful ever since, especially since '92. But and just because I picked that one team from Pittsburgh, I didn't get the Penguins, and I didn't get the Steelers, so I don't have any of the joy of being a Pittsburgh fan. I just got the Pirates.
Yeah, it's funny. You just watch Pittsburgh fans kind of just shift their priority to whoever's winning right now, and obviously they're all very heavy Steelers, but when the Steelers didn't go one year, but then the Pens went to, I think they won a Stanley Cup, maybe their second one in the modern. And you just watched everybody kind of just turn their hat around to the Penguin side. It was pretty funny. So, but yeah, it's pretty cool. And I think a lot of that is where you as a Mojave sports fan, you had nieces, correct, play basketball.
Yep.
Son play basketball. Obviously follow Mojave football. I have this grand vision of getting everyone like kind of checked in the way Pittsburgh does with all their teams. Even if you're not necessarily a Pirates fan, you know what the Pirates are doing. You support them. You do the thing. I don't know if you've been around Mojave much, but the last few years, it's like basketball's a separate world, football's a separate world, baseball's a separate world. And it's very weird to me. Like when I was a kid, we all played the same sports. And we all played all the sports together. So it was like there was really zero division. And but even if we didn't, we went and watched our boys play. Like half the football team would come watch me play basketball, and they were rowdy and they were wild. Probably need to dial it back a little bit, but it was a good atmosphere. Everybody was bought in, and now it's you have like people who just support certain things, and I'd really like to change that. It's very odd to me.
I agree with you because I had the same thing. So it's nice to see everybody support everybody else. I mean, y'all know each other. You know, y'all are happy when each other wins, right? Get out there and show it.
Yeah, it's very odd. You just wait till I get like 40 football players to go to like a speech and debate thing someday. You know, you're gonna have a bunch of rowdy football kids screaming and hollering when somebody wins the speech and debate or something. You know, but
Of course, yeah.
that's what it takes. Somebody's got to give a little bit, and hopefully you get it back. And that's kind of the, you know, I feel like that's probably kind of the crux of us. You know, we of course have enjoyed what we got, but we try to give it back, and we hope we get it back in fold. You know, for example, you gave when I was young, and now it's benefiting my son indirectly down the road. You know what I mean? And so hopefully a lot more people start kind of adopt that mindset.
Yeah, and there's no reason not to go support all these different things because we have these great facilities. New basketball court. You've got the field house. So you're going to have a beautiful
you
football
see that
game.
basketball
no
court
wind
already?
at your soccer game.
Did you go look at it?
I've just seen pictures. I haven't gotten in
Okay.
there yet.
I got some video. It's pretty sharp.
Is it?
Yeah, it's really odd because, you know, obviously the old gym was the one that was probably due for some TLC, but when that thing got damaged, but it looks beautiful. It looks great. So
I can't wait to see it.
yeah, very excited. I think they forgot to drill the volleyball holes.
Oops.
Yeah. So I think I got to go in and finish that up. I think they were getting ready to like, boom, pop it open, and I think they got to finish up a couple things. Volleyball's right around the corner. So
Yeah, that's a fun
yeah.
sport.
I saw that Mojave just hired a new volleyball coach.
Did they? I haven't heard anything about that.
Yeah, it was news to me, and I just saw it in the paper. In fact, I think maybe Jeff showed it to me, or maybe Tony. And it sounds like guy's got some beach volleyball experience. He played some high-level volleyball, so that's cool. Another thing
Very
looking
cool.
up.
Yeah. I
Yep.
like hearing that, and I like that John Drexler's taken over the basketball team. He's been
You know,
with
I
that
am
program
too.
for a long time, and I think he definitely is ready.
If I were a betting man, I would say that he kind of regretted not jumping in it a while back. And not that he ever gave any indication that he was unhappy or anything like that, but because he's a good basketball guy. He loves it. He's passionate about it. He's got a good brain. And he did a great job with that JV team for years and years and years. And so I'm very excited to see what he does with the varsity group. You know, I don't know. It is weird. You have so many kids that bounce and transfer and play and don't play. And but there's a lot of talented kids in that school in basketball as well. And a lot of them are young. I don't know who's sticking around and who's not. But Kingston is a hell of a basketball player. Freddie is you know, should be a all-state basketball player this year if he puts it all together. If the Fernandez kid stays, he's like 6'4", shoots threes.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a good core group of kids, and then you got fantastic like Robles will play basketball. Have you seen Robles play defense?
Yeah.
He's a nightmare.
Yes,
if
he
I was
is.
playing, it'd be like fighting gnats. I'd be so mad. You know, he's so fast and he's so low to the ground. So they have the nucleus for a good basketball team, and I just hope Drexler can put it all together. That'd be really fun.
I think he will. I'm looking forward to that too.
Yeah, we'll just go sit in stands and scream at him if he doesn't.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
We're here for
I'd
it.
never do that. Just kidding, Drexler. I'm very excited for you. Very excited for a lot of things we got going on today. Is there anything that you wanted to talk about that you really are excited to?
Community Park. I mean, Community Park has just been a whole new thing this year, and people have seen all the things happening to it. We've expanded the beach. We're just to 5,000 feet now of recreation opportunities on the water just at Community Park. So
Showed the
that's pretty
screen
awesome.
here.
Yeah, there it is. That's Community
Another
Park.
thing that I like is no glass.
Yeah, and that's
So important.
No
Because as we're
kidding.
building this stuff and people are coming to enjoy it, we've got to make sure that we're taking care of it. We got to kind of help them take care of it too. And boy, you're allowed to drink beer in our parks, but please don't do it in a glass.
No
bottle.
glass. I like
No
it.
glass. Gosh, we had the river cleanup on Tuesday of this week. The water was down about a quarter unit from the dam, so we were able to get out there. And I just saw too much glass in the river bed
man.
Yeah.
that we were pulling out. So that was unfortunate. But the way we've expanded the beaches at Community Park, we've put the block wall that you were talking about that's only a couple of feet high, so you can still see the river. That was an important addition. We've got the swim beach that you're looking at right there. That's those barricades, and that's us picking up
That all the
trash
cleanup?
the other day.
Yeah.
Yep. And the swim beach has been great this year too. The new barricades that we have out there have done a real good job of letting watercraft know, okay, you cannot bring that in here. You got to keep that out. This is just for swimmers. So that's been great. And then we've got a lot more coming at that north end of the park. What used to be the ball fields that you and I played on, we're getting playgrounds. We're getting
Just
shaver
hit
mods.
bombs into the fire station, you know.
Yeah, on the roof. That's what I heard. Yeah.
That's what I tell people. Hit the roof.
Yeah.
And we're going to have a splash pad up there too.
Yeah,
so
that's
it's
very
gonna be really
exciting.
fun.
That's
coming
really
this
cool.
fall.
This is a little out of left field, but are there any plans or intention of adding any parks to the Parkway?
We don't have plans to do it. We have a little bit of BLM land there that we're not ready to do that because we're just trying to fill in a community park.
Well, the river is the best spot, you know. And I was just curious, you know, Bullhead City is. So again, back in our day, the Parkway wasn't even really here when I got here.
Yeah.
In fact, I think they were mid-building it, and they still had like the dual roads, like the original 95 running, and then where they extended it to or whatever. And you know, that's become such a big area, and obviously us being up on the Parkway, it's pretty limited. You know, there's not much up there. A couple restaurants, some housing, and I was just curious if the city had any intent to expand out that way.
We do have intent. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah, it got prioritized, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've
Well, that
got
community park has boomed, and like I said, we talked about Rotary a little bit, but Rotary's, I won't say a finished product, but it's pretty well encapsulated. You got some empty little parcels in there, but community park's really exciting. And then, you know, I actually had a conversation with Toby Cotter a few years ago, and it was probably more than a few years ago because it's one of those situations where he's like, I can't really talk about it, you know, one of those things. And I was talking about developing that and making it kind of a, you know, our area, and it sounds like that's kind of what's happening, huh?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's a little something for everybody, you know, at Rotary Park to love, where you're just walking a dog or taking a dog to the dog park.
And you got a
Everybody
shop
loves the
there
beach.
now.
At Community Park.
Yeah.
That's right.
The Bravo's
have
River
this now.
Shop,
So
yeah.
no alcohol, but all those
Really
things right
needed
there.
it. Yeah. No, that's good. So, Dave, if you had a little genie lamp, right, and you could have one wish for your Bullhead City projects, what would it be?
Gosh, that's a broad question because I've got about 20 wishes.
Well, you
I-
get
I
3 with a
want.
genie, so you don't get 20. But every good genie knows you get 3. So
No, I right now my highest priorities are the pump track, because I just think that's going to touch a whole new audience that we're not really hitting too much. I mean, you've got the skate park at Rotary Park, but I think, you know, we've got a big biking community in Bullhead. Whether it be there's a good number of people that mountain bike around here,
it's
and
so
the
good
BMX
for
is
people to
just
have a way to
incredible.
be active, be
Yeah.
healthy,
So
get
to have
outside.
that pump track at Community Park, or Rotary Park, that's a big deal for me. The playgrounds and the splash pad at Community Park, I can't wait for that to be open. We're going to start working on that in the fall, and I think it's going to be one of the most exciting amenities that we've added to a park in a long time. The kids are going to love it. And then I bring it back to Ken Fovarg Park, which, again, that's a park that's been done for a while. It's so
You
done.
guys just put a new floor down on the basketball court?
Yeah.
Yeah?
And that's the point. It's so done that it's getting old.
So
So we
it's
have
fun.
to upgrade the court.
I used to play when it was the original good flooring, and then it got glossy and slippery.
Yeah, that
And
was
then
the
they put the
worst.
blue thing down, and then I don't know what's there now, but
It's like
it's just funny
hard
to, like,
surface.
back in my day, you
Yeah.
know, it's like, geez.
Well,
Here
and
we
the
go.
playground equipment that was from back in your day, and it needed to be replaced. So we're working on getting that replaced right now. Councilwoman Hecht is a big part of pushing that, and the city manager and the public works director, Angie Johnson, they've been very instrumental in getting right down to the nooks and crannies
Yeah.
of what we're going to see at that park, and I'm excited about that.
You know, for whatever reason, I don't want to say they're overlooked, but I think maybe the parks are a little underappreciated because I don't travel a lot, but I do get out to other communities. And, you know, you always think about, you know, when you're one of those high-dollar places in Vegas or Henderson, they have these really cool parks. You go to Southern California and you go to some, you know, my best friend from high school I played high school basketball and football with lives in Orange County. Amazing park, right? But then you come to Bullhead, and we have really good parks. And I feel like, you know, us who have been here just kind of take them for granted. People don't really appreciate them to the extent that they do, or that they should. And if you haven't been out to the parks, you really should just get out. I would wait till it cools down. It's supposed to be like 119 today.
Yeah.
You know, maybe
Not
go out
really
at
in the
midnight or
morning,
something. But when it cools down, which is another great thing, is that we have, you know, usable weather, you know, 9 months out of the year. And maybe you don't, like you said, like those memorial parks. People don't even realize they're there. They're down by the river. They're beautiful. We got parks on, you know, different parts of town. You got places to play basketball. You got places to ride skateboards. And I'll tell you, a lot of people who move here don't even know where half these places are until they get there for some other reason, you know. And I know that because I'm up at Findlay, and they still know where Findlay is half the time. So there's a Chevy dealer on the Parkway. What's the Parkway? And you're like, oh, come on. Come on, guys.
But I got a lot of that just from the last community spotlight you guys did with me. People had no idea some of that stuff was there. And, hey, tell me how to get there. I got calls from people saying, give me directions, and I'd give them directions, and they were happy.
That's awesome. That. And, you know, as you guys do things, we'll continue to, you know, spotlight them, get out there. So a lot of these community groups do a great job hosting their events there, things like that, and we always support those. So, you know, I could probably sit here and talk – especially local sports all day, you know. And
that's why I said we need a different segment for that.
Yeah, you know, we'll start a sports segment in the fall.
Yeah.
We'll come back and recap the games over the weekend.
Yeah, that'll be our Tuesday show.
I'm in.
Every Monday I'm in too, man. We'll just change up the little background here, and but I would love to. And I actually want to do that for basketball because I felt so bad because there was good basketball being played and no one really talked about it. It was in the old gym. It was almost like it was like a little bit of an afterthought because it was just not ideal. COVID was still lingering a little bit, and I felt like we got a lot of love in football, and I felt bad for those kids who played football who went and played basketball. I was like, no one cared. Not that no one cared, but that's how it felt, you know. Yeah. So we'll work on that segment. We'll come back. We'll come in Mondays and recap the weekend's high school athletics, and that'll actually help me be better at picking these athletes of the week. So
there you go. Perfect.
But it was a pleasure.
Pleasure was mine.
You're welcome back anytime, and as you have projects come up, let us know. We'd be happy to send Christy out and Jeff and cover them because, you know, this is our town, this is our backyard, and we're very proud of it. So,
well, thank you. I absolutely will
yes, sir.
let them know.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Dave.
Thanks, guys.
See y'all.
Thanks, Jeff.